got one. Nobody sent it to me. No. I bought that one. I gotta say whatever I want to say. I got an idea. Let's send one to absolutely everyone on YouTube to review. Everyone should get a copy. But him. Nothing. Nada. Rien. What is your dark secret, AMD? Let me show you something. It's an empty box. Why? Because it's in my computer, my testing rig. I've taken your little baby here and I've put it against a 1070, a 1080, and a 1080 Ti. Ooh, what did I find? Well, glad you asked. Today we are reviewing the Sapphire Radeon RX Vega 64 from AMD. Let me explain. And there's no need to make some unwilling commercials, so there you go. Back in the days, in summer 2017, AMD surprised the whole world and kicked Intel in the teeth with the release of its Ryzen processor and its Zen architecture. In consequence, AMD took large swaths of the CPU mainstream market to the detriment of Intel. Now, knowing this, and the release of the new RX Vega 64, one might think it's gonna happen again. It might, you know, they're going after NVIDIA, they're going for another giant, they are trying to get the undisputed NVIDIA 10 series and its Pascal architecture out of its way. Did it work? That's the whole question. Without any further ado, wait for it. Roll that intro. Oof. Good? Was that alright? Yeah. Alright, so keep in mind that this is an AMD stock video card, so nothing very fancy about it. We have 3 DisplayPort output and 1 HDMI. It is powered by two 8-pin power plug. Note that you're gonna have to have dedicated plugs for those ones, so not one PSU cable with 2 8 pins output, but rather 2 dedicated PSU cable with their own 8-pin output. If you don't do this or any intensive video card tasks, your system will crash. So keep that in mind. So we have a series of 9 or 10 LEDs right on top of our power plugs, and those are here to notify how much of the GPU we are currently using. Interestingly, we can put it on and off with this little button, and with this switch we can turn those LEDs either red or blue. And as you can see in this test, the fan can be very noisy, and the heat is incredible. And I tried to put my hand on the exhaust of the video card fan and I could barely keep it there. Though I did not detect any kind of thermal throttle during the testing, so kudos to AMD for the design. It gets hot, but it keeps delivering as much performances as we need to keep playing a game for a long period of time. Hot in here too. Alright, so let's talk specifications. Our RX Vega 64 is powered by the Vega 10 GPU. It has an unprecedented amount of cores. We have 4,096 cores or streaming processors on that thing for a total of 12.5 billion transistors. And that's not even half of it. The Vega 64 comes with 8 GB of HBM2 memory. And if you've never heard about it, it's not a coincidence. It usually is reserved to very expensive Quadro and other video cards, like $5,000 or $7,000 video cards. Actually, I've never seen any HBM or HBM2 memory used on a mainstream gaming video card. That is a first, and yeah, that puts expectations right up there. What you need to know is HBM2 is much faster than the DDR5, and arguably the DDR5X technology. To give you a little bit of context, those are the specifications of our AMD Vega 64, and those are the specifications of the GeForce 1080 Ti from NVIDIA. The price. This thing goes anywhere around $1,000 and more. Here, we can probably procure a Vega 64 at about $500. Simple, double. Or let me put it this way, double, simple. But these are paper specs. What about real life performances? Well, you came to the right guy. I took the Vega 64 and put it head to head to a GeForce 1070 GTX, a GeForce 1080 GTX, and a GeForce 1080 Ti GTX. First, let's talk about budget. Our 1070 goes for about $435 US. The 1080 goes for around $600, and finally our 1080 Ti around $1,000. In comparison, the RX Vega 64 places itself right between the 1070 and the 1080 at about $500. Frames per second wise, I have tested the 4 cards with Time Spy, Doom, and the new Wolfenstein 2. The RX Vega 64 easily outperformed the 1070 by about 15%, but struggled to have a clear advantage on the GeForce 1080. I had to run the test a few times just to make sure of the numbers. But yes, the RX Vega 64 did perform a little bit better and sometimes a little worse than our GeForce 1080. Knowing this, and unsurprisingly, the 1080 Ti overperformed on game and testing software, all of the above. Energy-wise, the RX Vega 64 has an energy efficiency of a coal mine. By far, it eats and needs more power than anything else I have benchmarked today. About twice more than the GeForce 1080 and a solid third more than the 1080 Ti. During testing, our Vega 10 GPU went to 85 plus degrees Celsius. Knowing that it is a 14 nanometer factory process, the best comparison we could have is Kaby Lake and Coffee Lake in terms of temperatures, and they can all handle 100 degrees Celsius easily, so I'm not too worried about this. So, one could think we should stop the video here, and here's the conclusion that, it's very nice specifications, but it doesn't do as much as it should and barely does the job of a 1080. There's more to it. Let's take a closer look to our Wolfenstein 2 testing results. Can you spot something strange? Not only the RX 64 crushed the 1080, but it gave and provided us identical performance than the 1080 Ti. The RX 64 comes with its 4096 cores, its memory, the HBM2, and a lot of power to back its GPU. But conventional games are not optimized to deal with 4096 cores or this kind of memory bandwidth. And what happened is that Doom just didn't take full advantage of what was available to it. And guess which is the first game who's been optimized to take full advantage of the Radeon RX Vega 64? Wolfenstein 2. So basically, it's not that our card is underperforming, it is the software who's not taking full advantage of the Radeon RX Vega 64. It's as simple as that. And my best guess is that future video games, the ones who will be released in the next week, month or year, will have that kind of optimization. And that gives us a very divided conclusion. I'll tell you this. For my money, I'm going with it. I'm going with Radeon RX Vega 64. Worst case scenario, I'm getting the performance of a GeForce 1080, which is anyway about $150 more expensive. And for the right kind of games, and in the future, I will be getting performances which are on the Ti, on the 1080 Ti range, $1,000+. The only thing I would do is water cool it, and that is precisely why you will see me using this very video card on my upcoming Threadripper build. It's gonna be water cooled, it's gonna be gorgeous, and it's gonna be starting in a couple of weeks. So yeah, there you go.